Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, here to ramble about PlayStation on PC, and it's been a big discussion point on this channel for like over 3 years now. It's been a damn long time since Horizon Zero Dawn came out on PC back in August of 2020, and yeah, it has been that long, and it has certainly seen its ebbs and flows. We've certainly got our horrendous PC ports. I look at a Horizon Zero Dawn, I look at a Last of Us Part 1, don't think I'll ever forget about you. But then we've also had some tremendous successes. We've had Horizon Forbidden West just knock it out of the park. We had Spider-Man knock it out of the park. God of War knock it out of the park. And recently, we had a little game called Helldivers 2 absolutely knock it out of the park. Now, the interesting thing about Helldivers 2 was that it was a game not from Sony first party, but it was a game that was published by Sony, but it also came out on PC day and date with its console release. You're following all that? That is something that Sony doesn't do for a lot of their games. Maybe you're thinking, oh, it's because it wasn't a first-party game. Well, that actually just happened with Rise of Ronin and Stellar Blade, and of course those games are legit PS5 exclusives for the time being. I ultimately expect both of those games to get ported to PC because guess what? Publishers like money, and the PC audience will print money for one Sony. So I do foresee those games coming out on PC at some point, but it is a bummer that we have to wait a little while for them. But in the case of Helldivers 2, that game came out day one on PC as well. For obvious reasons, that's the type of game that I think it makes 100%, 150% sense. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but 150% sense that to bring that to PC day one. I would argue that it makes sense to bring a Ronin, a Stellar Blade to PC day one, but we'll talk about that at the end. What I do want to highlight is Matt Piscatella noted on Twitter, X, PC has been a huge part of the success of Helldivers 2 in the US. With PC, Helldivers 2 is already the 7th highest grossing Sony published game in history. Not in this generation, in actual history. Without PC, it wouldn't currently rank among the top 20, and according to the player engagement tracker, Helldivers 2 has ranked first in US MAU on Steam each month since its launch, including in April. Launching Helldivers 2 on both PlayStation and PC has been nothing short of a massive, resounding success. I do also want to note Daniel Ahmad, also an analyst, tweeted in response, sounds like this personal computer gaming thing might take off. Obviously tongue-in-cheek there, but I found that relatively humorous. So there's a couple things to assess here. Obviously, when you see a stat like this, you're gonna think, why does Sony not just release all their games on PC day one? There is a bunch of layers to unpack here, and there's a lot of argument on both sides. Both sides have valid arguments and valid points of contention. So, obviously, in the case of Helldivers 2, it is the exception, not the rule for the time being. Helldivers 2 is a very specific kind of game that you need the PC audience for this game to pop off. It's a game that resonates with PC, and at the end of it, Helldivers 2 is designed as a live service game. It is a live service game where you are selling a service that is monetizable for the future. Before it to be monetizable into the future, you need a large player base. If it was just on PlayStation, you are severely stifling the potential of this game and monetizing a larger audience. Because if you only released this game on PlayStation 5, and let's just say you had 500,000 players every month, 500,000 unique players. Well, that's 500,000 people you can potentially monetize for the life cycle of Helldivers 2. Whereas, if you release it on Steam as well, and PC, and suddenly that 500,000 becomes 1.2 million, because it does seem like PC is gravitating towards this game a little bit more, although successful on PlayStation as well, well, then you're working with a base of 1.2 million people you can potentially monetize. Now, nobody thought Helldivers 2 was going to be this resounding of a success, but it has been that level of a success, and I don't know if that would have been the case. Actually, I'm pretty confident in saying it wouldn't have been nowhere near this level of success if it did not release on PC. Now, this is a multiplayer live service game. The argument is single-player titles like a Stellar Blade are used to sell PlayStation 5 consoles, and you want to release those games day and date on PlayStation. I would push back on that line of thinking, and I get it that people have this mindset, oh, I bought a PlayStation 5, I want value out of it, but I really think that's a minuscule portion. I think the people that want to play on PlayStation are going to get a PlayStation, and they're going to play on PlayStation. I think the people that want to play on PC are going to play on PC, and at this point, they are more likely to just wait for those games to come to PC, and they're not going to be pushed by that many games to get a PlayStation 5. There will be select people, and there certainly is a crossover here and there, but it's not this overwhelming crossover. I don't believe that if you release the Stellar Blade day one on PC, the only thing I think it would do is that you have a significant pool of people now to work with to sell that game for a premium $70, because if you do a delayed release like a Horizon Forbidden West 2 years after it initially comes out, sure, it'll sell fine, it'll sell okay, but a lot of that luster of that game has worn off, and you're still charging a premium for that game 2 years later, and it's not going to do as well. I would argue at least give it a shot. Give it a shot and try to see how a game does. You can at least have data at that point where you can assess what the return on the investment is going to be on releasing a game day one, because Stellar Blade right now on PlayStation 5 is doing really, really well. I think if that game was released on PC, sales numbers of that game would at minimum, I am not joking, would 2x. I think some of you guys think that is too crazy, but I also think there is a large portion of people that underestimate how effective the snowball effect is and the dialogue that people have online. Stellar Blade already has a lot of dialogue. That would only be elevated. That would only be escalated if this game was available on PC, because now you have more people buying the game, you have more people talking about it on social media, and when you have that snowball effect rolling, you're just going to sell more and more and more copies of the game, and I think 2x is at minimum what this game would have done. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm completely wrong, but I feel like Stellar Blade is one of those games that the PC audience really would have gravitated towards, but who knows? I've been wrong about a lot of things. That's just my outlook on the situation. And I've seen people say, oh, PC gamers, they'll buy Helldivers 2, but they won't play single-player games. I mean, like, what are you on at that point? Like, it's not 2012 anymore. It is not 2013 anymore. There are a lot of people that are playing only on PC that only play single-player games. If you are still of that mindset that, oh, PC players are just gonna pirate single-player games or they don't buy $70 single-player games, you're living in a decade ago. That's just the reality of the situation. You are living a decade ago. Look at the sales numbers of games like Resident Evil 4. I don't have splits on how that game did on PC versus PlayStation, but it did pretty damn well. Look at Cyberpunk 2077, the bulk of that game's sales, I believe, was on PC, so that idea that PC players won't buy premium games day one on PC, bro, at that point, you're just living in a different era. You're not, it is not a decade ago. We are living in a different era in terms of PC gaming, and I think games like Stellar Blade would do exceedingly well. Now, obviously, Sony's goal with having exclusives, the real goal is to invest people into that PlayStation ecosystem, but I think at this point, given that Xbox is a complete wash and PlayStation at this point really doesn't have competition in the console market. Nintendo is on an island of its own, and Xbox is just like almost a dead brand at this point. I'm sorry to say, like, I loved Xbox back in the day, but it's damn near a dead brand, and obviously Game Pass is what they're going for, and they're releasing their games on PlayStation. That idea of we need games to have people buy our console over the other console, that's kind of dying at this point, but the idea of, oh, we want exclusives to get people into that ecosystem, maybe from Sony's standpoint, they think if they release it on PC, more and more people will not get PlayStation 5s, but I think that's offset by how many copies of the game that you're gonna sell, and on top of all of that, I still think people that want to play on console would play on console. Again, I think this crossover is minimal at best. The people that are on PC, invested into PC, a couple games isn't going to win the majority of them over. I have a lot of boys that I know, and that's anecdotal at the end of the day. This is not a significant sample size, but there's only a few that there has been a game that they've really wanted to play to push them to get a PlayStation 5. Just a few, a fraction of overall all of my boys that play on PC. 90% of them, they're gonna stick with PC, and if they don't get a PlayStation title, not the end of the world. Again, I think that crossover is greatly overblown, and I think it would do Sony a lot of good to release these games day one. If it happens at some point, I hope it does, and I think it would be a positive for them, because they are still going to get people into their ecosystem. There are still going to be people that they want to kick back, plug and play a console, they want to buy their Madden every year, and they're going to chill out, subscribe to PlayStation Plus, and it's going to be hunky-dory, and they'll do fine. But if you release a game like Stellar Blade on PC, suddenly, that game, and I don't know, I'm just throwing out a number, 2x on sales, 1.6x at minimum. At minimum, it would be 1.6x, and that's still a significant increase, so I'm just letting you guys do with that information. That's my viewpoint, but look at the success of Helldivers 2, and Helldivers 2 is kind of a behemoth in its own. I'm not saying a Ronin would have done exceedingly well on PC, but maybe it would have. But Stellar Blade is one in particular, and I think, you know, Spider-Man 2, if that came out on PC, you're already cracking 3 million copies sold. I think you would have done even better, but, you know, that is all in a world that we can't know. We can't know. It's all ifs and what if. It's all what ifs at the end of the day. But that is how I view it. I think if they release games day one, I think they still would sell a crap load of PS5s. I think the games would sell better, and I think everybody would be happier, and I think the PlayStation brand as a whole would be elevated. But that is my 2 cents. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Definitely interested to hear your guys' thoughts, and as always, thanks for watching. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.